Oh, what's up, guys? This was going to be part of a flea market haul. I just uploaded a video with just the comic books, and it ran a little bit long, so I figured I'd do the DVDs I bought separate. And I figured, hey, you know what? Our friend, his YouTube channel is One Angelique, better known as Gare. He runs a movie Facebook page called Movie Magic Mesmerize Me. And he does a phenomenal job on there. It actually is one of the best Facebook pages I've ever had experience of kind of, coming through. And I comment every now and then and stuff. So I figure, some of these DVDs are TV sets. They'll be mixed in there, but they're movies. So I figure, why not give it a try? And for the people who are watching this on Movie Magic Mesmerize Me, who are part of that community, and for the people watching who aren't part of the community and need to join, I'll put a link below, and it'll be up to Gare to preview or not to let in there. He's real good about stuff like that. Anyway, I usually normally do a comic book channel. As you can see, I have shelves of comic books and more back there, and this whole channel here. And you might recognize my face, my avatar. I've commented on your, part of discussions off and on there. But I also have a shelf over here over there behind it, that's one of these bookshelves, nothing but DVDs with some stuff in front of it. I've got my season sets and other movies and themed movies over here beside me. So yeah, I'm a bit of a movie buff also. My favorite are the Universal horror movies. Creature from the Black Lagoon is my absolute favorite. And then it's just anything, the oddities, the rarities, the cult movies, French cartoons and stuff like that, like Gandahar, better known as Light Years and stuff like that, and Quentin Tarantino movies and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, on to the haul today. They had a flea market in the town of Hillsville. And went down there, and apparently this guy has opened a store. He's just rented out a building, looks like a converted house, and he sells DVDs for $4 a piece. If it's a season set, it's $4. If it's the Back to the Future trilogy and it's all in the same case, it's $4. And he had a sale 3 for $10. But where the flea market was going on, and I talked to the guy and stuff, I got some fantastic deals, just because this flea market is in town. It's a place called Hillsville, Virginia. They turn the whole town into a flea market twice a year, but Labor Day is the big one, okay? So, I think I messed up my stats. Anyway, I got all of these for $10 on Friday, the first day. Alright, so there will be some TV DVDs mixed in here, but I think hopefully we can overlook that. Okay, Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark on DVD. I've had this on VHS forever. I've had it 2-3 times on VHS, as a matter of fact, and just bought it, but I figure I'll go ahead and get Raiders of the Lost Ark. Talk about a freaking classic. Everything about it, from the movie posters to going back to the serials that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas loved. You saw some of the seeds planted when it came to the serialization of within a movie with Star Wars and stuff. And this is where they go for it. And as everybody probably knows, there's all kinds of little trivia behind the scenes and stuff, like Tom Selleck, Magnum P.I., was supposed to be Indiana Jones, but he couldn't get out of his contract with CBS for being Magnum P.I., so Harrison Ford got it. So the guy gets, his second iconic role, the icons of movies, first Han Solo, and then he becomes Indiana Jones, okay? I think it's from like 80, 81. And there's 1981. And I still remember going and seeing this in the theater. Oh my gosh, all kinds of special features, Alright, second movie we got. I have never watched this, and I'm a huge Monty Python, Terry Gilliam fan. I don't know where to start. I could go do a whole video where I'm just ranting and raving about it. Monty Python and Monty Python anything was played in my house constantly when I was little. Never stood a chance. But my favorite is Life of Brian. I should say the Holy, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's the one I can quote all day long. But Life of Brian to me is the masterpiece for Monty Python. And now the Monty Python group became Terry Gilliam, who became a director, and I started watching this the other night. I've always wanted to watch this. I've never seen it, never could find it. I put on Facebook that I started watching it, and I got informed that there's another version that is Terry Gilliam approved with the ending he wanted. And whatever happens in this one, apparently the studio wanted a happy ending. And I have no idea if this is the director's cut or not. I assume it's not, since it's not tagged. And I started watching this, and it's phenomenal. It's fantastic. I don't know what it's really about, but I'm going to start all over again. This is not a movie to lay down and watch hoping you can kind of fall asleep to it. You got to pay attention, man. The cinematography in it is that Terry Gilliam, I call it a fisheye. I don't know what style it actually is. And then it had this epic, this man was dreaming. I knew he was dreaming, but this man had metal wings. It's like he was Icarus, and he was flying around in the clouds like he was in a Michelangelo painting. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to just set everything to the side. And really, I stopped right there. Didn't spoil anything I don't know. Up, when it comes to Pixar, I was so skeptical. I was into traditional animation. I was like, it should be traditional animation. Don Bluth broke all the rules that Disney had sort of limited themselves with, you know, over the decades and stuff when he did Rats and Them. And to me, there's just so much could be done with it. And, you know, TV animation, all the animation, I just love that stuff. And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing there's going to, you know, I start seeing computer animation pop up, you know, like Rescuers Down Under and stuff. And I thought it was like crap, you know. It took you out of the movie. You could see it. So when I heard that Pixar was coming out with Toy Story, you know, I was like, oh no, I was refusing to do it. You know, animation forever, hand-drawn animation forever and stuff. And then I started seeing these toys come through, you know, like McDonald's Happy Meals and stuff that my friends, you know, like I was in my early 20s and my friends were getting this. So I went and watched the movie, man, and I already went in with my mind made up, and it won me over. Fantastic, wonderful. Pixar puts story first. I mean, there's little details in there, man, where it like reminds you of your childhood, and you kind of get this idea that it's just so good. I mean, these movies are a world upon their own, and they always put the heart in it first. You know, that's the problem. A lot of, you know, DreamWorks and a lot of these other, you know, computer animation companies don't really do that, or they get big on a song, or it's a convoluted tale where it's not real characters and stuff. These are living, breathing people with just sweet stories. Up is the one that I took my son to see, and in the first 10 minutes it made me cry, just like every adult in there, with all the kids looking back and forth like, what's wrong with you? And then the bastards got me again. They got me twice in the same movie. That has never happened before. So yeah, I'm man enough to admit it, you know. But he went on and had his own adventure. If you haven't seen Up, go watch Up. Wally. Oh, what I meant to say is this stack of movies, I think I said it was $10. Alright, I couldn't believe it. Wally. Storytelling at its best. It turns out Wally, when Pixar was getting started, and I think George Lucas, who had started Pixar, had sold the company and everything like that, they always had plans for what their first couple movies were going to be. And you got Toy Story and Bug's Life, you know, the first couple that came out, Monsters Incorporated, you know. But Wall-E was the one that they had saved until the computer animation technology was where they wanted it to be. And Wall-E, the first, 20 minutes of it, there's no words. It's pure storytelling. I was just in love with this. This is one of my favorites. Just amazing. Yeah, I do. You can tell my thing. Alright, Kiss Exposed. This is a 1980s, I guess it was a straight-to VHS movie that they had made, where it's kind of like a reflection of where they've been and where they were at this time. You know, I think this came out in 1987. And, you see all the characters, and it goes back and gives you videos, and there's a little plot going through, like a newscast, I don't know what he was, a documenter, newscaster, what do you want to call him. He had a microphone, and he had one guy with a camera, and they were supposedly, it's a mockumentary of what's going on in the Kiss mansion. Just pure tongue-in-cheek tinge of pervertedness, decadence of the 80s fun, and it goes back and you get hit with nostalgia because it gives you their videos and live performances and stuff, all the way up until 1987. Alright, got Doctor Who. This is a 1971 episode with John Pertwee that I have never seen this before, and it's called the Daemons. It's Demons, spelled with an A. but I'd never seen this one. It's a 2-disc set with a lot of extras on it and everything like that. And I watched some of it, and it felt like an, I don't know, I don't want to say Hammer, but it definitely had this B-movie feel of a bunch of witches sitting around chanting and stuff like that. I mean, it was pretty heavy, you know, so I got to go back and watch it. Of course, it's the 70s. Of course, Doctor Who was always, the basis of it, that's a kid's show, just enough to scare the kids and stuff. But this one seemed like it'd be freaking Aleister Crowley evil, so I don't want to hype it up. I took it out. I'm like, I want to watch this one again. You know, I was checking out the DVDs to make sure they were working and stuff. And I watched this one, it ran a little bit long, and I was like, wow, you know. And then, of course, I got Batman, the complete 4th season, and I might do a review separate of this and stuff, but this came out in 2004 and ran until 2008. It did 5 seasons. A guy named Jeff Matsuda was sort of like the producer on it, and he had done the Jackie Chan Adventures cartoon. Before that, he was in the comics, discovered by a guy named Rob Liefeld in the 90s, and came up. They started doing cartoons and stuff, right? And Warner Brothers, Fox, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, but once Bruce Timm's, the Batman Adventures cartoons from the 90s, I should have had my sets up here to show you. That first season came out, it had a theme song by U2, and it was a young Batman, and you know, it had a anime feel mixed with a filmation feel of the 70s and stuff. I wasn't too impressed with the first season and the Joker redesign, where he's got the dreadlocks, green dreadlocks, or whatever that was. I think they're trying to give him a Harlequin feel. They were definitely doing a different take on it. So I didn't really hang in there. And then around season 4, they were bringing it back home. They had introduced Batgirl the season before. They couldn't use Robin because he was in the Teen Titans cartoon. Teen Titans gets canceled. They bring in Robin. They start bringing in a writer named Paul Dini, who created Harlequin and had him write the episode reintroducing her. You know, it was slowly catching up with what, you know, had begun before. But this one pushed the envelope. You know, they had a future story where they kind of well, they brought in elements of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, which is a series in 1985. That just miniseries in 1985 that he did just revolutionized Batman, yet he really didn't change a thing. And then it has a zombie story in it, and they start bringing in elements. They bring Harley Quinn in, and they're bringing in the old crew. And this is also Jeff Masuda's last season. This thing won 6 daytime Emmys, so you know, even though I'm not fond of it, it's because I can't be objective. My Batman cartoon is the Bruce Timm stuff from the 90s, and because that is Batman. So this is a fresh new take on it that needs to be given a chance. Alright, but continuing with the movies. So happy to get this. I have one of my 7, the 7 DVD that I have. Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman going after John Doe, the serial killer, 7 Deadly Sins. The DVD that I have of this is one of the first DVDs where you actually have to flip the DVD over, put it back in so you can finish the movie. Right in the middle of the movie, it just stops, tells you, you know. So. And I've seen this version before. This is a super loaded version. First of all, the case looks like John Doe's notebooks. Okay, you open it up, you get alternative scenes and little documentaries and stuff, and the clues, you know, alternate endings, 2-disc set. I mean, they really went out of the way for this. I have borrowed this before and watched it, and it was excellent, so I was really glad to find one. One of my favorite DVDs. They also had Fight Club. Maybe I should have got that. Alright, now this set here of DVDs, I think I paid $15 today. With that much, you know. Of course, I got season 1 of Robot Chicken, if you're into pop culture and stop animation, you know. Moving on to the movies. Poltergeist. What was so funny is me and one of my buddies, Tim, I think that they were talking about Poltergeist, and I was hoping that this stood out. This is from 1982. While a lot of people, it's a Stephen King film. Steven Spielberg film, but it was written by Stephen King. Let me make sure here. Story by Steven Spielberg. He wrote it. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I always heard that this was based on something that Stephen King had done. So it's a script by Stephen King. Excellent movie way back in the day. So let's see if it holds up. And the Poltergeist ended up becoming infamous because of the rumors that were coming out that some of the actors started dying as the years went by and they were making sequels and stuff. Sadly, the little girl died. And then they started finding out that, you know, the whole plot is, the reason the house is haunted in this family is that it was built on top of an Indian burial ground, and they found out they were using real skeletons, real life skeletons of people, and all sorts of things started coming out, and all sorts of terrible things started happening to some of the actors, you know, over the years. Where are we? Ed Wood, a movie about making movies. Okay? If you have not seen this, this is Tim Burton and Johnny Depp doing another movie together. And this one is fantastic because it's about Edward Wood, the cross-dressing man who made the worst movie ever. You know, Plan 9 from Outer Space. All his movies were bad and stuff. But this is about his dream, his enthusiasm, his love life, where he's trying to get the girl. About him trying to, having a dream and thinks he's making, you know, great movies, but there's zero talent there. And now there's like a cult following, and they're finding out that his movies have an effect on your brain like sleeping. You know, his movies are the only ones that kind of do something to your alpha waves in your brain. I mean, you know, and they survive. So they turn around, and it's also the last days of Bela Lugosi and stuff, and I'm sure they took privileges and stuff to make this dramatic and stuff, but black and white, and it's actually really, really good. It's got a feel all of its own. And last but not least, Spirited Away. Okay, I am not a huge fan of manga, anime, or anything like that, but when something comes through, this ties into Pixar because Ghibli Studios, the man who did this, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because, you know, it's Japanese and that's just not right. But anyway, had a huge influence on the people at Pixar, John Lasseter of all. John Lasseter got Disney and a few other people to bring his movies over here to America that the studio had done since 1984. A couple of them were sent over in the 80s and stuff, and they chopped them up, and the voice dubbing and everything was just terrible and stuff. And he got them to come over. This Hollywood, you know, Studio Ghibli had a huge influence on Pixar, which Pixar fans, that's not new news. But anyway, Spirited Away actually just made me start hunting some of this stuff down because I absolutely love this, but I couldn't really tell you why, you know. This movie, I can tell you, was influenced by the fact that the man who owns Studio Ghibli and, you know, does all these, was just watching some of his grandkids' friends or something like that, and how, you know, they were spoiled and everything like that. So this is basically about a spoiled little girl, you know, just to be blunt, a spoiled little girl growing up, you know, and learning to be unselfish and not disrespectful to her parents and everything by going into this spirit world and meeting river gods and having to work in a bathhouse. And just, it's full of just characters and creatures and uniqueness and stuff. But one of the reasons I love it is because it does two things. It's like it's still, this man is probably 70 years old when he worked on this, somewhere around there. But he still knew what a child's imagination felt like. She has to cross a bridge with a boy, and in order to remain invisible to everybody, they have to hold their breath. And that's how little kids play. They make up their own little rules that are in control and make sense to them. A magic spell where, you know, you have to hold your breath. And that causes kids so much anxiety, because I remember watching movies or TV shows where people would be swimming underwater and they have to go through a tunnel, and I try to hold my breath with them to see if that's even possible. And the second thing is that it's got a frog in the background, just a supporting character. It's got a frog that just walks around, and it actually gets caught up in some magic and kind of floats there around and stuff. So I love frogs. Alright, so that's the DVD haul. Thanks for hanging in there. Okay, and go subscribe to Movie Magic Mesmerize Me on Facebook. Alright, later guys.